Technology has lots of pieces. Some of it helps you do your job better. Others help the students learn better. So you want to keep all of that straight and think to yourself, how can that technology be used to help me do my job, help the students learn? The ultimate goal is your students. Your job is to help your students learn to the best of their abilities. What technology do the students have? It's been mentioned, students have their own Chromebook. They, just like you, they're going to be taking it home. They're going to be coming back with it. You want to make sure that you are reminding them, did you charge it? Keep it charged. Because they come and it's going to be not charged, and you may have some loners in your classroom that they can use, but you want to make sure that you remind them. If you're going to be using technology the next day, just give them a reminder. Hey, make sure you charge it. Because we've seen classrooms where students got the plugs all over the place and they're charging the device in the back, and it's kind of a little safety hazard. So you want to make sure that you remind them as such. There are hotspots. So some students do not have internet at home. So we check out what are called hotspots so that they can access the network at home. All right, so this is a case-by-case basis of who gets these hotspots. So again, the district has thought of that. We hear from the teachers, well, what about those students that don't have internet at home? We do surveys every year, and it's only about 15% out of 15,000 students that don't have internet at home. That's a small portion. So that's what the hotspots are for. They also have an online access to their grades so that the parents and the students can see what their grades are outside of the school. There is one legality with posting grades outside of your classroom. Don't do it, because the grades are associated with their student ID number, and that is a confidential type of a piece. So we have been notified that posting those grades with the IDs is not allowed, okay? Because usually you're going to post it alphabetically. So a student is going to know where they fall in the alphabet, and they're going to be able to, oh, that student has that ID number right above me. And once they know that, they can start to cause issues. All right, so if you wish to have them see what their grade is, you have them go online and they can check their grade. You do have access to their passwords. Just don't go and pretend to be that student and start typing stuff to other people. So yes, you do have access to their account information and their passwords. So when a student comes up to you and says, I don't know my password, and it will happen, you can actually see what their password is. All right? They were given the password at the beginning of the year. So it was mailed to them. The parents have a password. It was mailed to them. Okay, so parents have passwords and the students have password. All of that was given to them, but you know students, or if you don't, you will know students, and they are going to forget their passwords. Okay, for you guys, you got a big old list. I've been in the district long enough to know we had horrible, Gerald, no offense, we had horrible connection. Our network crashed often. Now we have access points, and we probably have one in here. So there's an access point, that little white device up there. Each and every single classroom has an access point. We have access points on the outside of buildings so that if they are in the quad area, they'd still be able to access whatever happens to be. We have a guest network. So the guest network is what you can connect to with your personal device so that you can have access to that anywhere on campus. All right. We have network PCs. Every classroom has a PC as well as a document camera as well as a projector. If you do not, you need to make sure that you're checking with your tech admin at your site and say, hey, school starts next week. You got to make sure I'm ready to go. That is what we have purchased. Some of you, some lucky of you, actually have an interactive projector, which means that you can actually control your computer from the board. And you can draw on the board, and you can save the annotations that you do on the board to a file. Okay, so again, not all of you have that. Eventually, that's where we're going to be going, but not right now. Some of you may have those. The Google Suite. So we have Google Applications for Education. You have unlimited storage. So I don't know if you've been in any other districts or if you have a Gmail account, you are limited to how much space you can save. With Google for Education, you have unlimited. You can store all your files that you may have, videos that you may be using for your classroom, whole bunch of documents. Google Classroom is one of the things that you're going to be looking at today. We have just started a piece that is how it automatically creates your classrooms within Google Classroom. So we have a system that puts your students into the proper classes, and it automatically updates that. So sometimes technology is really good. It does some things for you. All right? But you just got to make sure you're comfortable using, and that's what Rob and myself are for, and the ed techs to help you become comfortable. Student information, like I said, you get to challenge your brain. You're going to learn something this year, and then next year you're probably going to learn something new. So that just keeps our brains fresh. I always have a little saying, we don't have telephone numbers that we have to memorize. They're always stored in your phone, so we got to challenge you with some other memory type. So just learning how to do a technology is trying to keep your brain fresh. We also have what is called Blackboard Mass Communication. This is an automatic system that you can use to send messages home to parents and students. So this could be, hey, there is a test coming up, and you can send out a message to the parents of your students to remind them that there is a test coming up. All right, so you'll learn about that down the road. Okay, so we're trying not to overload you with too many things, so I'm just telling you what you have available to you. There is what I like to call Chromebook refocusing software. It is software that you can use to monitor what your students are doing on your Chromebook. The district has a way to monitor what the students are doing on their Chromebook anywhere. Even if they're at their home network, we have a software that monitors it, and we take action if there is any inappropriate material or inappropriate action by a student. You can let your students know the district can monitor wherever you are, so use it as a tool. In your classroom, we do have two softwares that you can use so you can monitor what your students are doing, and you can send out websites to them. You can communicate with them within your classroom if you happen to be doing something at your desk and you need to check with what your students are doing. We have what is called Land School, and we also have what is called Go Guardian Teacher. Those two systems, one is more fancier than the other, so we're going to be, again, messaging you what those different devices or different softwares are. And support. You have lots and lots and lots of supports. Ask teachers next to you in your classroom. Ask teachers that you see in your PLC. You can email, you can talk to us, you can check with your ed tech. So there are multiple people that you can ask. We are here to support you. All right, so I want to make sure that you feel comfortable using it. So, okay, so you have accessing of our systems on the outside. So when you're in the campus, if you start any of your devices, you're going to go, like on your teacher computer, there are 3 tabs. So when you signed in onto these machines, you had 3 different tabs that opened up automatically. You had our district webpage, you had the Gmail, and you had the staff portal. The staff portal is what you access a lot of our software from. So you can access the staff portal by either of those two. The top one is our district webpage. The bottom one is specifically our staff portal. Now, when you are accessing these or your gradebook or student information system, like at Starbucks, I suggest not. because that is a public Wi-Fi, and you start to get into issues with public Wi-Fis, because if you start to go in and you just click on, I accept to use the internet properly, and you don't put in a code or any security to get onto the Wi-Fi, you start to have vulnerabilities of someone accessing the information about the students. So I suggest never to access your eSchool information from a public Wi-Fi. So just be very conscious of when you connect to the district or connect to a Wi-Fi, you know which one it is. The Chromebooks are pretty fail-safe. The viruses don't attack them because it's an OS that people don't really bother. The Chromebook automatically updates itself. You don't have to worry about viruses. We have a filtering system that's built in. So again, you really don't need to worry too much about viruses with the Chromebooks. We have never had any issues with it. It's built pretty safe. When you log in, know how you logged on to your Chromebook? You had to put your @salinasuhsd.org. So just be aware when you're logging in outside of the district, you may have to put that for your email. That's the only thing that you have to just keep in mind. A couple other things. You have My Documents, which you're going to start to see when you work on your desktop computer. These are files that are saved on the actual device. Okay? Don't be doing that very much, because if your device crashes, they just wipe it clean and start fresh. So if you've saved anything on your desktop, it won't be there if you have an issue with the Chromebook. You have what is called Google Drive. Google Drive is where you would be storing your documents and files and lessons and all that stuff, which is encrypted, and you have permissions to share, not share. Okay, so the Google Drive, you have unlimited storage space. On your device, you will have some limitations. So just be aware that's where we're kind of leaning people to. You can save stuff on your desktop. It would still be there, but if something was to happen to your computer, there was some glitch and it crashed, they just wipe everything clean and then they start again. There is a My Documents, which you can save some information, but just have a backup in My Drive. And no, we are not paid by Chrome to advertise any of this stuff. It just is very convenient and easy. These devices are about $200. So they are very reasonable to maintain and to own. So that's why Chromebooks. They are very, very similar to what the students are using, except for the flip screen. Some students have those in specific classrooms, but most are just basic Chromebooks. All right. They have very long battery life. You're hopefully going to notice today it should last throughout the whole day. Hopefully you did bring your charger just in case. Yes? Okay. With technology, always have a plan B. Correct? So just to be on the safe side, you never know. So always have a plan B just in case that technology breaks or doesn't quite work. Also, make sure that you check when you're doing your lessons and you're going to be using the technology, test it ahead of time. Have a student test what you're going to do, like if there's links or anything, because we have filtering system built in, and we get calls saying, I can't access this website. It works for the teacher, but it may not work for the student. So you want to make sure that you check with a student, hey, can I have you just go to this website the day before to make sure that they can actually get to where you want to go. All right, so just think ahead. If I'm to be using the technology, think of all the scenarios. Again, keeping your brain sharp. Okay, I mentioned automatic updates. So you don't have to think about, is it updated? It's going to automatically update itself. It's going to have a similar interface as the students. There is a web store. What I want you to go to is the bottom left. It is what is called, I believe, the Finder or the Search. Oh, Launcher. They change it. Google's famous for changing things, and then they just, here it is, here's the new change. Okay, so the Finder. Web store. So go ahead and click on the web store. Students can add any apps. You can add any apps. We don't limit the apps. You notice that we use Google Apps. Word and PowerPoint and Excel and all that, in a couple years we won't have that because it costs lots and lots of money to renew those licenses. So we're not limiting you to Google. You can still use Word or PowerPoint or Excel. It is on your desktop machine, but just be aware if you're going to be in the district for multiple years, it probably won't be there in several years. You can convert Word documents to Google documents really easily, so that's why we're kind of leaning towards that. We don't pay for the Google applications, so that's where it saves us quite a bit of money. All right, some shortcuts. You're going to notice I don't see a right click. So on these, how you do a right click is two, kind of like my little visual, two fingers separated, and you push down together. That's going to be right click. All right, so just a little helpful hint. Two fingers separated, push down together, right click. On the touchpad? Also, you should have noticed up at the very top, you have some buttons and features. You have volume. You have the brightness. You have screenshots and so forth. Okay, so you have those tools on the very top. Delete. You're going to notice there is no delete on the keyboard, but there actually is. If you hit Alt, backspace, that is the delete key. Alt, backspace. So backspace goes to the left, delete deletes what's coming to the right. All right, so just some helpful hints. Cap locks. Your students are going to do this sometimes. They're going to love to type in all caps. And they're going to say, I don't know how I did that. It was by the Alt and the little magnifying glass that would be where your cap locks key would be. And if you look in the bottom right, it's going to say cap locks, and it will have a little arrow. Okay, so that's where you want to deselect that. All right. Okay. Next piece, very quickly, hardware and software issues. First, check with your connections. I don't know if any of you watched the IT Crowd, the little British series. Okay, so their famous saying is, have you turned it on? Have you restarted it? Have you plugged it in? So just check that first. Restarting usually corrects a lot of the issues. So just restart the machine and see if that helps. Check the connections, make sure that they're plugged in. Check the cap locks. We have a lot of people that say, my password's not working, and their cap locks is on. All right, so just double check before starting to call. Slow down, take a breath, check it, and it probably will work. If that doesn't work, then call 7070. 7070 is our help desk. Instructional. We do have built-in tutorials. So when you go to Chrome on your desktop or on the Chromebook, you're going to see a little question mark in the green or in the multi-circle. That is built-in tutorials that you can look at to help you learn about it. Or Google search. This is a Google product, so just do a Google search for what you want and something is going to show up for you. You can also go to our YouTube channel that has videos. So Rob and myself create tutorial videos at that help.suhsdtech.org, and you'll get to our YouTube channel that has all the different videos on how to do various things in our district. If you have things instructional, that's where your instructional coaches and your ed techs are going to come in, and they're going to help you work on creating those lessons that are going to get your students to learn. You can also contact Rob and myself. All right, so we're able to help you with all sorts of manners. So use us. Check with your ed tech, check with us. Contractual. Your teacher contract has things specific for technology. One is you are to be maintaining our district gradebook, at least entering grades every 2 weeks. That's the minimum. All right, so we use eSchool. Whatever the district-approved gradebook is in the future, it's still going to be every 2 weeks. That's the minimum that you need to be entering grades. Some people do it. When I was teaching math, I did my grades every single night. So it depends on what you're doing, but you want to make sure that you're updating it because it's communication for your parents and students. They want to check to see, well, how am I doing? Also, you're going to get emails. You're going to get lots of emails. So all that you are required with your district is you need to review them and either respond saying, hey, I'm going to get to this, but you need to acknowledge that, hey, I've seen my emails. If it's from a parent, you have 2 work days to respond to the parents. Okay, so this could just be, hey, I received your message. I will get back to you at a certain time. At least you acknowledge to the parent. Those of you that are parents and you've emailed teachers, it's nice to say, yes, they actually got it and I'm going to take care of it. So you got to acknowledge that you are got that email from the parent. The eSchool is the grade that gets reported to the homes and that's where it's pulled. So yes, we don't have a way of linking them yet. That doesn't mean we won't in the future, but right now it's not. Thank you. Okay, just some last pieces. So, technology is a tool. It is to help you reach your learning goal. And I tried to think of all the wonderful acronyms that you, if you do not know, you will know. So, we have multiple tools and strategies to help. CC, Common Core, NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards, CM, Constructing Meaning, GRR, Gradual Release of Responsibility. All of these are district initiatives to help you create those great lessons to get your students to learn. PBIS, believe it or not, PBIS, Positive Behavioral, thank you, Intervention System. So a great student, well-behaved, is going to learn a lot better than ones that are not. PBIS to help that going forward. Thank you. PLCs, Professional Learning Communities. IC is our instructional coaches, and of course the technology to help you. All right, so focus on a well-developed lesson. Think through the student outcomes that you want to reach, and think how can I have technology, if it's appropriate, reach that learning goal.